morning,
Rick,
everybody. How are we doing?
morning.
Thank you for the morning. Hey, Richard, how are you, sir? Other than frozen. There you are. You blinked. All right, he's got the look of something's not working. All right, so Liz, Brett's running a few minutes behind. He'll be on the call shortly. Good to see everybody. I appreciate those of you that turn on your cameras. It makes this a more experiential, moment for me to see and feel your energy. Hope everybody's already off to a good start. I just climbed out of the cold plunge here that I have locally, and I'm alert and alive. If you've not done one, highly recommend it. It's the best form of torture. Luke's going to run stats for me, or at least turn them on. We're going to walk through. I'm going to start. Matt's over here throwing me the crying emoji. All right. Pick one and scroll. All right, there we go. What was that? That was, looks like Broward, was it? Did I read that right?
This is Broward single family.
Thank you for that, buddy. 721 actives. There's actually an article that says that active inventory, has taken a step back. So that'll be interesting to see. But it is down relative to, looks like April and May. It's the lowest it's been for relists or lists. Coming soon, we've got 19 under contract, 167 pending, 134, 256 closed, 25 withdrawn, 121 expired, and 70 canceled. What I see here is a slowdown. Maybe it's pre-summer, people taking a breather. It's not 10%, so it's about 5% off relative to what it's been running. Almost 10% if you go all the way back to the end of April. Richard, any thoughts about this?
So I have to take myself off mute quicker.
You're good. I should warn you,
This
I'm
is,
coming for you.
I'm sorry, this Dade County?
This is Broward, I believe.
Broward.
I'm sorry, Broward. Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you, Luke. All right.
Broward
You
School.
know, to me, the change is relatively minimal. The number of actives has slowed down. That's normal this time of year. Now through, pretty well the end of the year, you're going to see new listings coming on market slowing down a little bit. The number of closed is, right up there. 256 is a nice strong number for closed sales.
Agreed.
Pending and under contracts dropped off. Guys, I'd be interested. Do you think that has to do with and the school year ended down here,
Seasonality component.
and people aren't out looking at homes with the school year ending?
Absolutely. This is the last week for school in Broward County. So I think next week we'll start to see a difference.
Cool. Well, let's keep moving through it then. Moving to Broward Condo. 783 actives, 8 coming soons, 124 under contract, 82 pending, 169 closed, 35 withdrawn, 275 expired. Those are obviously end of month. I think set up there. Wow, yeah, that's a common trend as we've seen. 102 canceled. So I think the depreciable number is in alignment with single family. So it sounds like a seasonality component. Let's keep moving through it.
Yep.
You want to go to townhouse,
We can.
or do we want to jump to a different?
Good.
I say go to Miami-Dade. Let's keep moving through just to see. I'm anxious now to see. I didn't look at these in advance for today. I didn't realize I'd be running the numbers till minutes before, but I'm glad I'm available. This is fun. Active 623, so up from last week, but the historical of what we've been running, 7,800 appearing on the market, 623, again, kind of in alignment with what we're seeing. 106 under contract, 149 pending, 158 closed, 25 and 123 expired, withdrawn and expired, and then 81 canceled. So again, I think it's the same story. It's a seasonality story. So let's keep cranking through. If there's nothing to add other than, as always, your goal should be to get your unfair share and find the most fertile ground to go do your work where things are moving and where there is activity. Moving to condo, 829 active, 2 coming soon, 99 under contract. I don't have the comparative in this screen. Luke, if you could scroll up a little bit.
Apologize. Brett was calling me. So he said that we're going to have to run with it for this morning. He said he's stuck in traffic at a dead stop. So,
All right. All right. Well, we're going to run with it.
He must be back in Atlanta then.
829 actives. Again, pretty significant number, a drop in the numbers. Coming soon to 99 under contract, pending 142, 113 closed, 31 withdrawn, 236 expired, and 123 canceled. Kind of the same story. I don't have a explanation other than seasonality. The fact that they're all in alignment so far tells me that it's a collective or global, and there's not a micro market element to what's going on. These are condos, I believe.
this is Palm Beach single family.
Palm Beach single family.
And this is where you start seeing a difference from the other 2 counties, Rick. Palm Beach, for some reason, is staying much stronger than either Broward or Dade County.
Yep. 702, 29 coming, 216 under contract, 117 pending, 333 closed, withdrawn 32, expired 133, 50 canceled. The pending number actually is pretty strong. It's right up there with 117. Ironically, that number popped up 2 weeks in a row back in April. And other than a big surge in March was a surge, but April and May looked pretty much in alignment. Big closed week, but that would make sense given if reporting's accurate and on time at the end of the month. Anything to add here, Richard?
Yeah, let's look at condos in Palm Beach, because that's been the strongest of the 3 counties for condos as well.
All right. Actives at 592, coming soon 14, under contract 109, pending 64, closed 169, withdrawn and expireds jumped. Again, first of the month, that's what you'd expect when people usually track their listings, and canceled. And I'd like to add something. I don't know if your habit or practice is to have your listings expire the end of the month, or I would assume you have the privilege and right to plug in dates. And I used to always round up and push to middle of the following month and have all of my listings expire on the same day. And I wanted it to be in the middle of the month before I got super busy, so that if I had one coming up, I was prepared to have good conversations and not distracted by closings. So if that's your MO, you might want to continue to do it. If it's not your mode of operating, maybe consider it. And by having them all expire the same day each month, if it's the 15th, on like the 10th, I would go research all of my listings, that were coming up, and initiate conversations in advance. I would also, back in the day, maybe someone could correct me, but I would extract the phone number if I had a seller notification. I guess everything's probably done electronically now, where you're not leaving messages. But back in the day, the hunters for expired would start pounding my clients before I could relist them. So again, having a common date paid dividends for me. It became very predictable. It was a system, if you will. So down a little bit on actives. Under contracts are kind of in alignment, a little bit down, but from last week, not much. Pendings and closed are pretty close again. Withdrawn and expireds what you'd expect end of the month, because most people don't think like I used to, and maybe there's merit in that these days, that I may be missing something. Richard, anything to add?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to try and sum up or add overall for the Tri-County area, because I was doing some looking at the numbers going back to the end of last month. And in a lot of ways, I think we're keeping pretty well on track with a stable market. And the end of the school year, I think, is where we're seeing the fluctuation. Let me share some of these numbers with you. Single family homes, Tri-County area, for the end of last month, the end of April, there was a total of 4,869 new listings. 5,839 went under contract, which means that our inventory is shrinking in single family homes in the Tri-County area, which is good. The median days on market was 45. Everything under $3 million is a seller's market. 4.2 months of supply. 19% of the single family homes sold at or over list price. However, 45% took price reductions and 36% expired or were canceled. So overall, we're staying pretty strong. We saw the blip there for the last week because of end of school. But when you look at it as a continuation, market's not changing all that much. It's getting better for you guys. And in the condo market, that's where you're seeing a shift. And it was a really dramatic shift when I looked at Palm Beach compared to the other two counties. 6,431 new condos hit the market. 5,683 came off or went under contract, which means that your inventory in the condo market is still growing. Okay? 67 days on market. Other than Palm Beach County, in Dade, Broward in particular, everything is a strong buyer's market. Palm Beach County, you're seeing that big middle section of the market has shifted back to being a seller's market. 10% sold at or above a list price, 49% took price reductions, 53% expired. Now, guys, when you look at the overall market, we're staying pretty strong down here.
That's great feedback.
You know, there's a lot of opportunity out there for you, particularly this week for those of you that go after the expireds. This is a good time to be hitting the phone today and start increasing your listing inventory because stuff is selling. Just make sure it's priced properly. That's all it comes down to in any market.
Yep. And if you guys want to hack or a cheat, anybody want to hack or a cheat or a formula for how to win and hit your total sales goal for the year? I learned this years ago that if you keep 25 to 30% of your total sales goal in inventory at all times, you will always hit your goal by the end of the year. It's almost impossible. So if your goal is to sell 20 houses, if you keep between 5 and 7 in inventory at all times and you make that your focus, it's inevitable that you're going to hit 20 by the end of the year. The key is to keep that inventory up so that you've always got marketing in play and signs in yards and you know, obviously a lot of magnetism in the social media feeds and online. So maybe write that down and make that your goal. If you focus on listings, the buyers are going to find you because they're not looking for ages. They're looking for homes and you'll be more present.
Yep.
Welcome, Brett. Good to see you.
All
buddy.
right. Sorry, I got stuck in traffic. Well, let's jump into some of these articles.
Let's
So
go.
there, Luke, can you share the articles and follow me?
I don't have
would
any
appreciate.
pulled up, but I can pull them up. I thought that you had it now.
Nope, sorry.
There's some classic finger pointing going
Actually,
on
here
here,
we go. I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. All right. So the first article is this CoStar is acquiring this platform called Zonda. I have never heard of Zonda. Have y'all heard of Zonda before?
No.
people.
It
Not until this
looks
article
as
broke.
if, yeah, 800 million is not a shabby number.
They got
But it
something going on
looks
over at Zonda.
it looks like CoStar and or you could translate homes.com is making a play for new construction data. I don't know what that means outside of CoStar's making moves, which is in the residential space. We've certainly talked about homes.com on here before. Is it good? Is it not good? Some people say homes.com is great. Others say it's a waste of money. I just thought it was a newsworthy statement if CoStar is spending $800 million on um, new construction data, which is fascinating. All right, second
Well,
one.
I'll add one thing to that,
Yeah,
just
go ahead.
real quick. As I read the article, I was thinking, man, it might be a brilliant play for them because people do like to, the smell of new home and new construction. And I don't know what your local MLSs require, but in Georgia, it's at a certain phase of construction that if they're a member, if you're a member agent, you have to put it in the MLS, which incurs costs. So I'm guessing that this database has a lot of pre-construction information and information from builders direct because that's what I read into the article. So it could be an interesting value play for their platform.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna keep this on the newsreel because it's a thing that's going on not in our market today, but it is certainly rocking the industry and um, it's disruptive. Let's put it that way. So what's happened was there's three big MLSs. The MRED MLS in Chicago, the Real Tracks MLS in Nashville, Tennessee, and Bright MLS, which is the giant one in the Northeast. All three of those MLSs, their first play was they said they were going to start accepting national data. And there's this conversation around, is there going to be a national MLS? Blah, blah, blah. That's a whole nother conversation. Well, the MLS in Chicago canceled or shut off their feed to Zillow.
Whoa.
And so literally overnight, there were no listings on Zillow in Chicago. And then Zillow sued and got a temporary injunction to reinstate the listing feed in Chicago, but it's still in court. Well, this second MLS in Nashville is now threatening to shut off their Zillow feed. Now, our MLS, I don't believe is going to go down this road today, but I need you to know that that is a threat happening in the national landscape right now. Is there are MLSs that literally have just cut off the Zillow feed, and it's probably fueled by the Robert Refkin with Compass fight that he's having with Zillow, and he's gotten the ear of those three MLSs. So, do I think it's going to happen in our market? No, but do I need you aware? Yes. And if it happens, we have a playbook to handle it. But it's kind of crazy when an entire MLS just cut off the feed to Zillow. And it looks as if a second MLS may do the same thing. All I need you to know is there are disruption going on at the MLS level, at the aggregator level, in the real estate industry nationally. It's not affecting us today, but I don't want anybody blindsided by it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Kind of crazy, no?
Power
All
play.
right. It's a power play. There's two Florida specific articles I want to hit. Both of them were on Housing Wire. And the first article on Housing Wire said as Florida's housing market finds its footing, sellers still face pricing realities. Richard, did you get a chance to read this article?
Yeah, and this is
What's
kind of
your
the same-
take?
that it's really not news. This is historically, I mean, they're saying 44% of Florida listings have had a price cut. It's like, no kidding. No matter what
Yeah.
the market is, there's always price reductions. They're looking at news in order to stir up people's emotions.
Okay. And are we seeing prices flat, appreciating, depreciation? It depends on the segment of the market. I think what we talked about in the industry updates and on here, and when we did the state of the industry, there's certainly price decline happening in the condo market, right? But not, I can't even be that specific. It's median price point condo market has had price depreciation. Luxury condo market is still having some price appreciation. And what about luxury single family? What about median price point single family? It looks to be single family still having price appreciation, but there doesn't mean that there's not price reductions.
Hmm.
And
You-
I want
You're
to
always going to
Yeah.
have sellers and their agents who try pushing the market. Even in hot markets, you still have price reductions because people are pushing it too far. And
Yeah,
and
and
what you're and with the condo market, Brett, even within that, what you're seeing, if you look at the segments, not just by price point, but by age, you'll see an even more detailed breakdown of what's happening in the market. The older condos are the ones that are having a tougher time taking more price reductions. If you've got something that's 2 years old or newer, those are the condos that are selling stronger, not taking price reductions.
Yep. So I want to get your brain clear on something. So if a property a year ago would have sold for 500,000, and then today I listed it at 550, and I couldn't get movement on it. So I reduced the price to 525 and I sell it for 520. Most people, their brain thinks price reduction means prices are going backwards. But if I sold it for 520 and it was sold a year ago for 500, there was still price appreciation, even though there was a price reduction. So price appreciation has nothing to do with price reductions. It has everything to do with what the property was worth a year ago compared to what it's worth today. And that has everything to do with whether or not a realtor, as Richard said, was trying to push the price and then they took a price reduction. It still doesn't mean that prices are going backwards. Does that make sense?
Just
Yep.
consumer
Any-
expectations on the listing side. That's all that affects price reductions. How optimistic and how motivated, and that's case by
Yep.
case.
Mm-hmm.
All right, hot topic. Will getting rid of property taxes make Florida more affordable? Who wants this one?
No,
Go ahead, Richard.
no, it will not.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Here's my thought on this one. And from the time that DeSantis first announced this, the only question that I have is, so who's going to pay for all the services that are currently paid for through the property taxes?
We are.
And what's just going to be deferred someplace else, Joy?
Sales
You know
tax.
that.
It will
Running
become a
plural
fee.
strings.
It'll become a fee-based system because they've got to have that money from somewhere. So all the fees are just going to go up dramatically.
Yeah.
Yeah. That here's if you read through this article, one of the things that I caught towards the very end, this is going to go, in my opinion, this is going to go through the legislature. It'll be signed off on, but it has to go to the next election. This has to be voted on. And something like this needs a 60% majority to be passed. And I would be surprised if it passes with a 60% majority.
Okay.
Does anybody know what percent of Florida homeowner or Florida homes are owned versus rented?
Occupied percentage.
Yeah.
There was
Uh,
the stat that DeSantis said, which take that for what it's worth, was that about 30% of homes are homesteaded. So this would only affect homesteaded homes, and it would not affect school taxes. So this would only affect the portion that does not include school, and then that's going to be about 30%. So his basic point in the reel that I posted yesterday was that cities went 8 years ago were making 32 million and now we're making 32 billion and now we're making 60 billion in Florida. So they've doubled in a time where, yeah, inflation didn't double, but it sure got close. And this would only bring those numbers back to like 42 to 45 billion. So you'd still have gone from 2018 or 2019 from 32 billion to 45 billion. So there's still a massive increase in the taxes that they got. They're still going to get the school tax. The only other, there's going to be a reduction in the overall tax, but cities have made so much more money. Millage rates have gone up, etc. So that's his point.
Well,
Us-
Justin, the problem with that argument is that while their income has gone up from increased in property values, like you are all feeling in your daily budget, your expenses have gone up as well.
Right.
It's
And he's
not
saying
like
it's
the
gone, it's
cities
still
are-
going to have gone up 50%. So 32 billion to 45 billion will still have happened. Right. That's his point. But I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong. That's just his point.
I'm surprised about the comment about the school. The news article this morning said that they will lose $5 billion a year if this tax thing goes through.
Yeah, he specifically said, and in the bill, the school taxes are not taken out. So that's people trying to push a false narrative.
There you go.
Grabbing
And
popcorn.
what I love about real estate, they hire us for our advice and opinions, and everybody's entitled, right?
Yep.
All
I think
right.
I think the last portion of this, right, is that home values will go up because of this, right? Because naturally, if people don't have to pay the property tax, as we know, our clients are worried about their monthly payment almost over everything. So if we think about that, appraisals will keep that in check for a little bit, but overall, in 10 years, any gain from that will be wiped out as well to homestead owners. So
Yeah.
it's another thing to think.
One of the other portions of this type of conversation is looking at how to adjust the capital gains that people have had on their properties over all these years. Florida or nationwide at 250,000 for an individual, 500,000 for a married couple. That hasn't been adjusted in 30 some years, I believe. And when you look at what the average profit is now for somebody selling a home, this is part of the lock-in effect of people staying put. You sell your home now, you're paying a whole lot of capital gains tax on it. So I happen to like that portion of the conversation better than the elimination of the property taxes. It's politics. It'll be an interesting conversation.
For sure. All right. U.S. home sales not rebounding despite modest market improvements, according to NAR. Here's the reality of what this article is saying. We are staring at the fourth year in a row that U.S. home sales have been down compared to historic averages. I kick myself at every year for the last 3 years because we start the year with optimism and then something happens. And this year, I'm still holding out hope that there's some resolve in the global events that would allow for us to have a little second surge in the year, but your guess is as good as mine if that's going to happen or not. I felt optimistic over the weekend, and then I don't know. You read your news, we all read our news. But the question is not what is happening around us, it's what we're doing about it. And most people are finding success in spite of. And most people are doing the activities that are causing them to find success. And I'll remind you, everything is a cycle. And at some point, our market will come back with a vengeance, right? Yet where we believed it was going to happen this year, it doesn't look like home sales have really taken off on a national level as everybody believed they would have. Yet what's become an interesting factor is inventory. Inventory has actually started to slow down, and inventory means we're not listing enough homes. So if we could go on a diatribe of going out and listing a bunch of property right now, you will take the market. And it kind of goes back to like what Rick said early on in the call. If you know your number of how many listings you need to hold to achieve your goals, and you just stay focused on listing, and it's tough to coach somebody to stay focused on listing when listings are tough, but listings will drive you to your success right now. And if you control the listings, you in theory control the leads, you control the market, you control your own reality. Any thoughts on that?
Just
So
the
I was out on a listing appointment this weekend with a newbie, and I thought it was kind of funny. The last 3 listing appointments I've been on, no one's discussed the news with me. So I think that we put it on our heads that the news is affecting everyone's decisions, and it's not. If they need to sell their house, if they want to downsize, if they're retiring, if they, are divorced, whatever. So if we're focusing on those life events, news does not matter to those people, only the news in their lives. And we need to stay focused on that.
There you go.
You're exactly right. And one extra closing a month changes everything for most of us economically. You need one person. You don't have to win them all.
All right, guys. Happy Monday. Go list a house.
See ya.